We're ready when you are, Mr. Chair.
There we go. Welcome to the special meeting of the LUSD Redistricting Commission for Monday, October 4th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. Today we're having a public input hearing to gather testimony on draft maps. Can we do a roll call, Andrew?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Commissioner DeHaan?
Here.
Commissioner Franco?
Here.
Commissioner Hurtado?
I'm present.
Commissioner Lopez Ledesma?
Here.
Commissioner Lundqvist? I did see her earlier. Did we lose Commissioner Lund? Oh, no, Commissioner Lundqvist?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm
yes,
here.
yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Penny?
Present.
Commissioner Antonio Sanchez?
I'm present.
Commissioner Waite?
Here.
Vice Chair Ambrose?
Present.
Chair Sanchez?
Present.
We have 10 members and a quorum, Mr. Chair, and I believe Commissioner Johnson will be joining us a little late this evening.
Andrew,
Great.
I wasn't called on, but Christy Hernandez present.
Oh, thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that. I did not see you. There's a lot of boxes up there, so thank you. So we have 11 members, Mr. Chair.
Okay, perfect. So to begin, I'd like each commissioner to both introduce themselves, who's their appointee, who they were appointed by, and then as well as there's any ex parte communication to report. And any remarks folks may have as well. Sorry. We could start with I'll just do quickly mine. So Chair Luis Sanchez, I was appointed by School Board Member Monica Garcia. No ex parte communication to report, and then we'll go to Vice Chair Ambrose.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good evening, everyone. My name is Andrea Ambrose, and I was appointed by LA City Mayor Eric Garcetti to this commission. So pleased to be able to hear your public comments tonight and look forward to them. We do have translation available, and I think we might have a chance to hear from the translators in a second to share how they can communicate with the public. But I have no ex parte communications to report either, Mr. Chair. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Can I have Commissioner Hurtado?
Yes, my name is Gil Hurtado. I'm a council member in the city of Southgate. I was appointed to this committee by School Board Member Jackie Goldberg. I have no ex parte communication, but again, I want to thank everybody for participating here. And hopefully at the end, we can provide the city council the best option that we come up with. And again, we're going to do our very best. We got to follow the law. We got to follow the input that you all give. So again, it's all very important. And thank you again.
Thank you, Commissioner. Can I have Commissioner Lopez Ledesma?
Thank you, Chair Sanchez, and good evening, everyone. Buenas noches. Thank you all for being here. I am Commissioner Eva Lopez Ledesma, and I was appointed by Council President Nuri Martinez. I do have ex parte communications to report on September 29th, which was last Wednesday. I was in communications with Max Podemski, Planning Director for Councilwoman Martinez. And we were talking about a planning matter, but then this came up and I checked in with him, sort of just gave him a status update of where we were.
Thank you, Commissioner. Can I have Commissioner Hernandez?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Christy Hernandez, and I was appointed by Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti. I have no ex parte communication to disclose, and I just want to thank everyone who has joined us this evening. We appreciate your time and input to help inform this process. We know it's not easy, and we have no easy task ahead of us, but we're glad that you're joining us today and participating in this democratic process. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Can we have Commissioner Lundqvist?
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Lorraine Lundqvist, and I was appointed by School Board Member Scott Schmerelson in Board District 3. And I have 2 ex parte
Sitio
communications
número 3 y tengo 2.
on September 30th at 5:40 p.m. Genesis, and I presented to School Board District 3 Student Advisory Council on the redistricting process, and as school board member Scott Schmerelson was there. We didn't have any personal discussions, but he did see my presentation. And then on October 1st, his staff member Tara emailed me just thanking me for the presentation and sending pictures.
Thank you, Commissioner. Can I have Commissioner Franco?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Wilma Franco. I was appointed by the LA City Council President, Nuri Martinez, and it's a pleasure to be here. No ex parte communication on my end. Looking forward to the feedback.
Thank you. Commissioner Rapenny?
Hi, I'm Heather Repenning, and I'm an appointee of Mayor Eric Garcetti. I do not have any ex parte communications. And I am appreciative of everyone who is attending tonight, and I look forward to hearing from hopefully everyone who called in. Please take a minute and tell us what's on your mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner DeHaan?
Good evening, Anna Teresa DeHaan, appointed by City Council President Nuri Martinez, and no ex parte communications.
Thank you. Commissioner Waite?
Thank you. Hi, everybody. So I am the appointee of the 7th District, and I'm a councilman from the city of Lomita. Last week on Thursday at 5 p.m., we had a workshop with the 7th District with Tanya Ortiz Franklin to explain redistricting, what was going on, and get input from the 7th District, which they did a super job putting it together, had a lot of great questions. And so looking forward to hearing what people have to say tonight.
Thank you. And finally, Commissioner Antonio Sanchez?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everybody. My name is Antonio Sanchez, and I was appointed by LAUSD Board President Kelly Gomez. Welcome, everybody. Looking forward to listening to the public comment tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. So on behalf of the commissioners, we will now go to a presentation. And before we do the presentation, I'd like to make some of the announcements to remind folks of the mutual translation that will be available at the same time, either in different languages. And so why don't we start with, I believe it's Mandarin, right? We'll do Mandarin first.
Yes. So Felix, go ahead and do the announcement.
Yeah.
那我们今天晚上呢，会通过这个视频的 Zoom 的方式呢，去进行今天的会议。我们在本次会议期间呢，提供普通话的现场实时翻译。如果你希望听到普通话，在你的屏幕的右下方会有一个像是地球仪的标志，在那里选择呢这个中文 Chinese。那如果你想通过智能手机 App 加入会议，在屏幕的右下方呢，也选择语言传译，然后选择Chinese 中文，然后点击右上角完成。那如果你想听到翻译而不想听到讲话者的原声，那你就点击将原始音频静音。谢谢。The announcement is done. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next one in Spanish.
Muy buenas tardes a todos o buenas noches. Bienvenidos a todos a nuestra reunión de la Comisión de la Redistribución de Distritos de la Distrito Escolar Unificado de Los Ángeles. Para que usted pueda escuchar este programa en español, le pedimos que vaya a la parte inferior de la pantalla, donde usted encontrará un icono que es como un globo o también una esfera, en la cual usted podrá acudir a su lenguaje preferido, en este caso español. Así que le damos las gracias, bienvenidos, y también si usted quiere participar por teléfono, hay un número de teléfono apartado que se ha dado, el 669-254-5252. Se va a repetir nuevamente en esta reunión con la identificación 16106374991. Nuevamente, bienvenidos y pasen buenas noches. Gracias.
Thank you. Welcome, Commissioner Johnson. Maybe, do you want to just introduce yourself, who you were appointed by, and if you have any ex parte communication report, and maybe any remarks you may have.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanchez. I'm Elizabeth Johnson, appointed by Dr. McKenna in District 1. No ex parte communications, and I want to welcome the public, and I'm anxious to hear their comments on the process that we're so heavily involved in. Thank you.
Thank you. So once again, so we're about to do a presentation that will state where we're at, what we're tasked as commissioners as part of this redistricting process. Of course, we've now sent out public maps that today we will be getting comments on today. And this presentation will go through each of the processes and what we have left over the next month. So go ahead, Andrew.
So I just want to remind everyone to keep themselves muted throughout the presentation.
Welcome to the LUSD Redistricting Commission's public input hearing, and thank you for attending. The LUSD Redistricting Commission is composed of 15 members, 7 appointed by each member of the LUSD Board of Education, 4 appointed by the Los Angeles City Council President, and 4 by the Mayor of the City of Los Angeles. The Commission has elected myself, Luis Sanchez as Chair, Ms. Andrea Ambriz as Vice Chair. To date, we have had meetings to organize ourselves, establish our procedures and processes, and hire staff. We have also created 2 standing committees, the Outreach Committee co-chaired by Wilma Franco and Elizabeth Johnson, and the Data and Mapping Committee co-chaired by Ana Teresa Dahan and Barry Wade. This hearing is part of the phase of soliciting public input in our work. There will be many other opportunities. We are committed to providing the residents of the Los Angeles Unified School District with full opportunity to participate in this process. The full commission will hold a second round of hearings during the first week of October to receive further input from the public. Our final map must be completed by October 29th. Once our map is finalized, it will then go to the City Council, which has until December 31st, 2021 to adopt the final map. We are making redistricting software and data available to the public so you may submit your own recommended maps. We also are making the information we gather available online through our commission website, redistricting2021.lacity.org/LUSDRC, as well as providing the public the opportunity to submit testimony, comments, and maps online. We encourage all LUSD communities and stakeholders to engage in the redistricting process so that communities have equal access to political representation. How and where districts are drawn can shape a community's ability to elect representatives of their choice. Before we begin receiving your comments, the city attorney will provide a brief overview of the redistricting law and criteria that we are obligated to follow.
On behalf of the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office, we welcome you to this public hearing of the LAUSD Redistricting Commission. Our office's role is to provide legal advice to the city, including this commission, throughout the redistricting process. We would like to take this opportunity to discuss several important laws and legal principles that apply to redistricting. The Los Angeles City Charter requires the City Council to redraw the lines for the LAUSD's 7 Board of Education districts at least once every 10 years. The Charter creates this redistricting commission to advise the City Council on the drawing of LAUSD Board of Education district lines. The Charter requires the redistricting commission to obtain public input, prepare a redistricting proposal, and present the proposal to the City Council. Several important legal criteria govern the redistricting process. The equal population principle. Board of Education districts must contain, as nearly as practicable, equal portions of the total population of the Los Angeles Unified School District. This principle is established in the City Charter and also in the United States Supreme Court's one person, one vote decisions. The United States Constitution's Equal Protection Clause. The United States Supreme Court has held that race cannot be used as the predominant factor in drawing district lines, such that traditional redistricting criteria are subordinated to the considerations of race. The Voting Rights Act of 1965. The Voting Rights Act prohibits voting practices which result in a denial or abridgment of the right to vote on account of race, color, or language minority status. Redistricting plans must be analyzed under the Voting Rights Act to ensure they do not deprive minority voters of an equal opportunity to elect representatives of their choice in violation of the Act. Traditional redistricting criteria. Federal, state, and city law have established several traditional redistricting criteria, all of which shall be considered to the extent feasible when drawing district lines. What are the traditional redistricting criteria? Contiguity. All parts of a district should connect. Compactness. Districts should be geographically compact. Existing boundaries. Districts should utilize boundaries such as geographic, street, and political boundaries and conform to high school attendance zones. Communities of interest. Districts should preserve neighborhoods and communities of people sharing common interests. More information regarding the laws governing the LAUSD's redistricting process are available on the Redistricting Commission's website, redistricting2021.lacity.org/LAUSDRC. Thank you.
Now that you've heard the criteria the Commission must use and consider when redrawing the LAUSD school board member boundaries, what data was used to draw the draft maps? There are many types of demographic and geographic data the Commission used, as well as taking into consideration hundreds of submitted public comments from across the school district. The 2020 census data is the official data set the Commission uses for the redistricting process. The data is adjusted to take into account the reallocation of the state prison population as required by state law. This data includes the raw population data as well as ethnic data based on population and voting age population. The Commission also took into consideration hundreds of written comments and verbal testimony during the first phase of our public input hearing process, including those comments submitted using our public comment form on our website. One of the most important data sets the Commission considered is school attendance zones, with an emphasis on high school attendance zones as required by the Los Angeles City Charter. The Commission also considered middle school attendance zones and is continuing to examine school feeder patterns to ensure that representation is fair and equitable for residents, parents, and students. The Commission considered other community-related data sets as well, including information from the American Community Survey, neighborhood and city boundaries, major freeways, and neighborhood councils in the city of Los Angeles. What are the Commission's proposed draft maps? The Commission has submitted to the public 3 draft maps, Draft 1A, Draft 1B, and Draft 2 for your consideration, feedback, and comment. More detailed maps are available on our website at redistricting2021.lacity.org/LAUSDRC. Draft 1A from north to south keeps 2 districts whole in the San Fernando Valley, using the 405 freeway as the major boundary, with only 1 district over Mulholland Drive. Changes to District 6 in the Northeast Valley include losing portions of Van Nuys, Lake Balboa, and Reseda, while adding the communities of Valley Glen, all of North Hollywood, and Toluca Lake. District 6 is the same in all of the draft maps. Changes to District 3 in the West and Southeast Valley include adding all of Lake Balboa and Van Nuys, while losing Valley Glen and portions of the Reseda High School attendance zone. Changes to District 4 include adding all of the Reseda High School and University High School attendance zones, while removing portions of the Hollywood High School attendance zone east of Highland Avenue. Changes to District 1 include removing the city of Gardena, using the 110 freeway as the major eastern boundary, and including all of the Los Angeles High School attendance zone. Changes to District 2 include removing downtown Los Angeles, South Los Angeles, Pico Union, and Westlake, while adding all of unincorporated East Los Angeles, El Sereno, Highland Park, Eagle Rock, Glassell Park, Elysian Valley, Atwater Village, as well as portions of Hollywood. Changes to District 5, including adding downtown Los Angeles, more of South Los Angeles, Pico Union, and Westlake, while losing the other communities described in District 2. And lastly, changes to District 7 in the south include adding all of the city of Gardena and cleaning up the northern boundaries, mostly along high school attendance zones and the 110 freeway. Draft 1B is very similar to Draft 1A, with some minor changes to Districts 2 and 5. In Draft 1B, Los Feliz and Silver Lake are removed from District 5 and added to District 2, while Koreatown is removed from District 2 and added to District 5. Draft 2 also keeps 2 districts whole in the San Fernando Valley, using the 405 freeway as the major boundary. As stated before, District 6 is the same in all of the draft maps. Changes to District 3 include removing Studio City, Sherman Oaks, and Valley Village by using Mulholland Drive as the southern boundary and the 405 freeway as the major eastern boundary, with the exception of the community of Van Nuys, which is kept whole in the district. Changes to District 4 include removing all of the West Valley, which includes the Taft High School attendance area and the communities of Tarzana and Encino, while adding Sherman Oaks, Studio City, and Valley Village. Changes to District 1 include keeping a portion of the city of Gardena, using the 110 freeway as the major eastern boundary, and including all of the Los Angeles High School attendance zone. Changes to District 2 include removing Mount Washington and Angelino Heights, while consolidating portions of South Los Angeles. Changes to District 5 include adding Mount Washington, Angelino Heights, and portions of Hollywood east of Highland Avenue, while losing portions of South Los Angeles. And lastly, changes to District 7 in the south include minor changes to the northern boundaries, mostly along high school attendance zones in the 110 freeway, while keeping the city of Gardena split at Rosecrans Avenue. These are the draft maps for your consideration. The Commission must send the final map recommendation to the City Council by October 29th. Your input today and in the next 2 weeks is critical to help inform the Commission to make the best decisions possible. What type of public input are we seeking from the community? We want to know what you think. Are you in support of any of the draft maps, and why? Is there a particular district or district configuration that you would like or don't like? Let us know. What changes would you like to see made to the current draft maps? You can also go to our website at redistricting2021.lacity.org/LAUSDRC to use our online mapping tool where you can draw and submit your own maps to the Commission.
There are 4 ways for the public to provide input into the Commission's process. The first way is to attend a public hearing like you are doing today and tell us what you'd like to see in a map. The second way is through the public comment form on our website. The third way is to submit your map to the Commission, and the rules and procedures for doing so are on the website as well. Lastly, the Commission will be providing an online mapping tool to help the public draw their own maps.
Thank you again for attending our meeting today. To contact the Commission, you can reach us by email, phone, on our website, and you can follow us on social media. Our website is located at Redistricting 2021 LA City org/LAUSDRC. On our webpage, the Google Translate button in the upper right corner is available to translate the website into multiple languages. On our homepage, you can easily RSVP for a public hearing, join any live Zoom webinars, and provide us with public comment with the click of a button shown in the middle of the page. The homepage menu also allows you to access the Commission's documents and tools. The public comment page under community engagement is where you can RSVP for a public input hearing, easily submit written comments, or you can email us at lausd.redistricting@lacity.org. Additionally, our online mapping tool on the Maptitude software page is where you will be able to draw suggested maps to submit to the Commission. This page also provides the rules and procedures for presenting a map. We hope you visit our website at redistricting.lacity.org/LAUSDRC. And we hope you participate in future meetings with us.
We are holding 3 public input hearings to get feedback from the public on the draft maps. The hearings will take place on Monday, October 4th at 6:30 p.m., Wednesday, October 6th at 6:30 p.m., and Saturday, October 9th at 11 a.m.
Every public input hearing will have Spanish interpretation available using the Zoom interpretation button at the bottom of your screen. We will also provide interpretation in 12 other languages if we receive a request at least 72 hours before the meeting. When providing comments in any language other than English, please pause every 2 sentences to allow your interpreter to interpret your comment back to English. Feel free to contact us by email or phone, and don't forget to check out our website and follow us on social media. Now we will move into the public comment period of the meeting. Each member of the public wishing to speak before the Commission will have up to 3 minutes. Please select the raised hand option to speak and wait to be called on. When we call on you, please state your name and the boundaries of your community of interest as an introduction to your comments. Once again, thank you for attending today's public hearing for the LUSD Redistricting Commission and for participating in this very important process.
Thank you. So now that we're done with the presentation regarding the structure and process of the redistricting, I'd like to reopen now public testimony. Each presenter, like once again, will have up to 3 minutes to speak today. And we like to.
Excuse me, I thought we had said it was going to be 2 minutes. It's up to you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the amount of speakers. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
fair enough.
Yeah. So I would say for, because we have 72 attendees, I only have 6 speakers so far that have raised their hand. Just to allow everyone to speak, I would hope folks stay closer to 2 minutes right now. But right now I only have 8 speakers that have raised their hand. So I think we could proceed. Gladys?
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Oh,
Chair.
sorry, I just have a quick question. If we
Yeah.
end up getting more speakers, just to ensure everyone can speak through the night, will we have the ability to reduce it later if necessary? Or is there a minimum that we have to do?
You
But
should
once you
afford
give-
the same amount of time to each speaker tonight. So I believe the chair has said 3 minutes per speaker tonight. If you would like to reduce that to a lower number because of the number of speakers, you should do that at the outset and apply it equally to everybody.
So I totally, if it's only 8, I totally support the 3, but I do feel bad if a lot of people are planning to speak and they have to wait through the 3 minutes. People might get discouraged. So I would encourage a shorter amount so that we can get more people to speak.
Okay, why don't we do 2 minutes? We're going to do 2 minutes with the expectation that we'll probably have about 30 to 40 speakers. Folks just haven't risen their hand. Yeah, so we'll that way we start from the beginning. Everyone has 2 minutes. So go ahead, Gladys, now.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And before we begin the public comment, I would like to make an announcement. In conformity with the Governor's Executive Order N2920, March 17, 2020, and due to concerns over COVID-19, the Los Angeles Unified School District Redistricting Commission meetings will be conducted entirely telephonically. Members of the public who would like to offer public comment via Zoom webinar on the items listed on the agenda should click on the raise hand function to request to speak. Members of the public who would like to offer public comment via phone on the items listed on the agenda should call 1-669-254-5252 and use the meeting ID number 161-077-4991 and then press pound. Press pound again when prompted for participant ID.
然后按星号。
Once admitted into the meeting, press *9 to request to speak. Since we do have members of the public that would like to give public comment today, I'd like to turn it over to the city attorney for further directions for the public.
Thank you, Gladys. We'd like to take some time to explain the ground rules for public comment tonight to ensure that we have a fair and efficient process. The commission, because of the large number of people that would like to participate and in interest of providing as many people an opportunity to speak as possible, the chair has determined that the commission shall provide an opportunity for members of the public to address this commission on the public input agenda item for 2 minutes per speaker, plus additional time to translate comments by non-English speakers. To members of the public calling in to provide public comment to the commission, when it's your turn to speak, we will announce your name, the last 3 digits of your phone number, or your identifying information. When we announce your name or number or identifying information, then you're live in the meeting and it's your turn to speak. Please immediately unmute yourself. We understand that you might be listening to the broadcast of the meeting on the internet or another device. Because there's a time delay between the live meeting and the broadcast, please keep one ear on your phone so that you can hear when we announce your name or your number or your identifying information, and that you can immediately press *6 or unmute yourself. Otherwise, we might think you're no longer on the line and move on to the next speaker. Also, if you're listening to the broadcast of the meeting on the internet or another device, please immediately turn down the volume of that broadcast on that other device to avoid feedback and confusion because of the time delay. The purpose of tonight's public hearing is to receive public testimony regarding the commission's draft map options. The chair may rule that a speaker is out of order if the speaker's comments are not germane to the item under consideration or are overly repetitive. If the speaker remains out of order, the chair or I may declare the speaker is impeding the orderly conduct of the meeting and will be forced to move on to the next speaker. Finally, I'd like to warn you, commissioners and members of the public, that some members of the public may choose to use modes of expression that are offensive or vulgar, including the use of racial epithets. Some of that content is First Amendment protected speech, and there's little that we can do but hear it. Members of the public, however, can turn down the volume of the broadcast if they choose not to listen to any offensive language or vulgarities. With that, I'll pass it back to the chair.
Sorry, I'm trying to be here. So let's begin with the first folks, Gladys.
Okay, first caller by the name Jessica Panduro. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hey, good afternoon, commissioners. First of all, I just want to thank you for your amazing work. I know that this process is not easy. Again, my name is Jessica Panduro. I'm a graduate from Roosevelt High School, and I'm a proud aunt of an Evergreen Elementary student. She's really happy and excited to start this journey. I am here requesting for the commissioners to keep District 2 as the way as it currently is. From the day that I attended Evergreen to today, I have seen the growth in our education system. We have been able to create a lot of progress, and District 2 has been a champion around pushing for equity, not only that impacts District 2, but at LAUSD, throughout the whole LAUSD. So for this reason, I ask you to please keep the district as it is so we could continue working into a more equitable, just system that supports all of our students in District 2. Thank you. I was planning for that 1 minute remark, so I appreciate the extra minute. Again, thank you, and keep District 2 as it is.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next caller by the name Leonel Mares. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hello?
Hello, go ahead.
Yes, good evening, commissioners. Thank you for having me. My name is Lionel Modest. I'm a resident of Sun Valley, Nuri Martinez District, LA City Council, and I was reviewing the maps. This is my first time with your meeting. I've been with the LAC Commission on the other redistricting, but I think that we should keep the Northeast Valley intact, or for that part, the San Fernando Valley. On draft map 1A, it seems to do a job of keeping the valley intact, whereas District 6, which is highlighted in purple, it's covers some valley through somewhere. That's where I live. And I think that we should keep the valley intact as much as possible, because some of the maps that I've seen, for example, draft map 2, it seems like it's a little bit different than the previous map, but I think that we should keep the East Valley or the whole San Fernando intact, because our communities are predominantly Latino speaking, and I believe that we should keep our communities intact in order to have better political and social representation with the city council and the LAUSD. So that's my public comment for tonight. I'm sorry, I'm just still learning. This is my first time being with your commission. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next caller with the last 3 digits, 337. Can you please unmute yourself?
Llamada a últimos 3 dígitos, 337. Por favor, puede abrir su micrófono a la estrella 6.
Hello, thank you. My name is Megan Serenity. I am a resident of Boyle Heights, and I am a graduate from Garfield High School. I have lived in Boyle Heights for over 5 years, but I grew up in East LA, and I am here to ask the commissioners to keep District 2 as it currently is. Boyle Heights, along with East LA, El Sereno, City Terrace, Lincoln Heights, have come together to fight for more funding for our schools, equity, and bringing back more resources to our communities. It is important for us to stay as one district so that our similar goals and needs can be served under the same representative. We have made some improvements, but we still have so much more to fight for. So I am encouraging you guys to please choose as it is so that our one voice continues to grow and get stronger. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next caller with the last 3 digits, 080. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hello, go ahead, proceed.
Yes, thank you. My name is Steven. I'm a resident from Boyle Heights, and I graduated from Oscar de la Hoya High School in 2019. I have lived in Boyle Heights my whole life for 19 years, and I'm here asking the commissioners to keep District 2 as it is. All of the communities in District 2 face similar challenges that we have come together to battle many times in the past. And as a district, we have been able to fight for a better education for students as well as more funding for our schools. Therefore, I think it's important for us to remain as a community of interest to keep making progress towards the challenges in our district. I'm here representing Boyle Heights, asking for District 2 to remain the same. That'll be all. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next caller by the name Ophelia Ryan. Can you please unmute yourself? Caller by the name Ophelia Ryan. Can you please unmute yourself? Okay, we will go to the next caller. Caller by the name Jackie Galvache. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Calvache. I was born and raised in East LA and currently work in the East Side. I have been a part of this community my whole life, and I'm asking commissioners to listen to our demands in keeping District 2 the same. East LA is very similar to El Sereno, Boyle Heights, City Terrace, and Lincoln Heights. Historically, these communities have come together to fight for more funding in schools, A through G for our students to reach higher education and equitable education for all. These efforts have been possible through unifying our community and keeping District 2 as is. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for your comment. Okay, next caller by the name Karina Macias. Can you please unmute yourself?
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, proceed.
Okay, thank you. Well, good evening, commissioners. Thank you again for providing me this time to address you. My name is Karina Macias. I'm a council member for the city of Huntington Park as part of Board District 5. I again would like to remind you the importance of equity for communities that for over a decade have undergone lines of injustice that have led to lack of resources for our students. I ask that MAP 1B move forward, and I also think that we can set a middle ground, but also leaving MAP 2 behind. MAP 2 is a gerrymandered lines for Board District 5. That's plain and simple. And there's zero equity if MAP 2 is moved forward to be voted on. Again, I ask that you move MAP 1B. There is a possibility to set middle ground with MAP 1A, but I do want to emphasize on the gerrymandered lines for Board District 5 when it comes to MAP 2. And again, thank you so much for giving me this time.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next caller by the name Ophelia Ryan. Can you please unmute yourself?
Ofelia Ryan, te escuchamos. ¿Apagaste tu teléfono? Préndelo.
Okay, we'll go with the next caller. Caller by the name Ciris Barrios. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, my name is Ciris Barrios, and I'm happy to see a lot of the commissioners on this commission. I grew up in Watts and made the decision for 40 years, and my family lives here in Watts in District 7. In the past, we have not benefited from being part of District 7. I know we have a good board member now, but I am afraid of the next 10 years. My children attend the local schools that I attended, Wigan Avenue. And I've seen a lot of families send their kids to charter schools and now pull them into private schools. And I haven't made that decision yet. I don't want to. So I'm just asking that you reconsider just the lines for District 7. And we could be part of District 2 or part of District 1. It would be great. I think we would have a better chance to advocate for our children. So I'm asking this as a person that grew up in this community, that went through the school system, that was not prepared for college, as a person that has fought in my community for better education for the children, and now someone that actually has made the decision to come back to Watts and raise my children in the local schools. I ask you to just reconsider those lines and make a decision that's going to benefit our children. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next caller by the name Gloria Rodriguez. Can you please unmute yourself?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening. I'm going to be saying making my comment in Spanish. Muy buenas noches, comisionados. Gracias por esta oportunidad de hablar. Mi nombre es Gloria Rodriguez. Soy una madre y también voluntaria del área aquí de Huntington Park en el Distrito 5, un lugar donde por ya 10 años hemos tenido no equidad. Creo que cada una de las personas que se sientan en mesa directiva se dan cuenta de que es muy
If I may, Gloria, we need to interpret that.
Go ahead,
So
Andres.
please, just as a reminder, Gloria, we need to say it 2 sentences at a time because we need to do consecutive interpreting. Would you mind starting over again? Or you can do it in
Yes.
English.
I would like to do it in Spanish.
Perfect. 2 sentences at a time.
Okay. Muy buenas noches, comisionados. Mi nombre es Gloria Rodríguez. Soy una madre y también madre líder aquí en el área de Huntington Park, Distrito 5.
Good evening, everyone and commissioners. My name is Gloria Rodriguez and I am from District 5. I am a mother and also a mother who also is the leader in District 5.
Estoy aquí para pedirles a ustedes la reconsideración del mapa 1B para atender mejor equidad en nuestra comunidad, la cual no la hemos visto por más de 10 años.
And I'm here to request to reconsider the map. I believe she mentioned map B, where we would like more equity. And for the last 10 years, we have been lacking equity and fairness.
En estos momentos, el mapa que tenemos nos representa la comunidad de Huntington Park y las ciudades alrededor.
At this time, the way the map is, it's not representing the neighborhood of Huntington Park and the surrounding areas.
Me da mucha tristeza saber de que muchísimos padres de nuestra comunidad no van a estar con nosotros esta noche, porque como siempre, los flyers y información para juntas tan importantes como esta, nuestros padres que están trabajando 2, 3 trabajos, no pueden venir a estas juntas.
It makes me so sad, and the fact that so many parents tonight will not be with us and be able to speak because they have not received their flyers, they have not received some type of notification of these meetings, and if they did, because they have 2 jobs or several jobs, they will not be able to be heard tonight.
Y es allí donde miramos la equidad que hace falta aquí en nuestra comunidad de Huntington Park y las comunidades alrededor, que somos comunidades de bajos recursos y que no se pueden comparar a otras ciudades que ahorita están en nuestro distrito, que realmente no podemos compararnos si no nos representan.
So this is the main reason why we need to be heard, because of the lack of representation. We are a community of low-income families and very low resources. And this is why we need to, I need to compel you to focus on us and see what we could do about equity.
Al principio de esta junta se habló de que parte de esta comisión es la que iban a mirar la equidad y que se iban a mirar a comunidades que se parezcan. Entonces, por favor, voten por el mapa 1B, que es el que representa más a las ciudades de Huntington Park y a las ciudades alrededor de nuestra ciudad. Gracias y buenas noches.
So in the beginning of these sessions and meetings, we were told again and again about looking for that equity and looking for that justice and looking for neighborhoods or districts that were similar in so many ways. And I ask you to continue focusing on those things that you said since the beginning, because that way you can, especially map 1B in regards to Huntington Park and the surrounding areas. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Sorry, thank you very much for your comment.
Muchas gracias por su comentario.
Next caller by the name Citlali Flores. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, hello, my name is Citlali Flores. I am a resident of Boyle Heights and a graduate of Oscar de la Hoya High School. I have lived here for 18 years. I am here asking commissioners to listen to our demands in keeping District 2 together. Boyle Heights is extremely similar to El Sereno, Lincoln Heights, East LA, and together, our communities have come together to fight for funding for our schools who need more resources in order for our students to get quality education. Once again, I am here representing Boyle Heights, asking for District 2 to remain the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next caller by the name Alejandra Pineda. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
If you allow me, I prefer speaking in Spanish.
Sí, proceda.
Creo que sí, Alejandra, solamente 2 oraciones para que no se le olvide nada del intérprete. Gracias.
Muy buenas tardes, gracias por la oportunidad de dejarme participar.
Hello, everyone, and I would like to thank you, first of all, for this opportunity so that I can participate in this process.
Soy parte del Distrito 5 por más de una década.
I have been part of the District 5 for more than a decade.
Y puedo decir que nosotros somos una comunidad fuerte y dedicada.
And I could say that we are a very strong neighborhood, and also we are very dedicated.
Mas, sin embargo, tenemos muy poca representación debido a la división de las zonas.
However, we still lack representation because of the fact that the division in our area is not divided in the correct manner.
Es por eso que les pido su consideración para tomar en cuenta el mapa 1B.
This is why I am requesting for you to consider the map 1B when looking at the boundaries.
Para nosotros sentirnos involucrados, tomados en cuenta y que también observan todas las necesidades de nuestra comunidad.
And this is why I request for you to take us in account and look at our needs, our communities, when making a decision.
Cuando se hacen cambios buenos para la equidad, creo que todas las comunidades y familias estaremos agradecidas. Muchas gracias.
When you make changes, well, this means better changes for the good. And well, I hope that you take in consideration our needs and also our families, which we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Muchas gracias por su comentario. Next caller by the name Lydia Legaspi. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hola, buenas tardes. Gracias por esta oportunidad. Mi nombre es Lidia Legaspi, pertenezco al Distrito 5 y esta vez quiero que por favor apoyen el mapa 1B que nos representa más para nuestra comunidad aquí en Huntington Park. Gracias por esta oportunidad y saber que cada vez que nos apoyamos unos a otros, todos ganamos. Gracias, buenas tardes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lydia Legazzi, and I'm from District 5. And I would like to thank you for this opportunity to speak in this occasion. I would like to request for you to support map 1B again, because again, this represents us, Huntington Park. And this is a great opportunity for me to speak this today. And remember that when so many of us support each other, the end result will be everyone wins at the end.
Thank you very much for your comment. Muchas gracias por su comentario. Next caller by the name Marco Flores. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hello, my name is Marco Flores. I am the president of the Adams Normandy Neighborhood Association and also our neighborhood council, educator in LAUSD, and parent of 3 graduates from LAUSD. I'm here to speak in favor of 1B. We live adjacent, our area is adjacent to USC. For the last 10 years, we've been represented or not represented by the board member that represents East LA, Lincoln Heights, El Sereno. I think it's time that we get our representation back. We are adjacent to USC, we are in South LA, and that's the area we should be with. I would love to be part of Huntington Park and Southgate and also part of Koreatown, which map 1B represents. The neighbors, my members of the Adams Normandy Neighborhood Association, we have discussed it, we have voted on it, and this is the area we want to. Our kids go to school south of the Santa Monica Freeway, not north. We've been represented by a board member who only represents the north and leaves us, abandons the little sliver underneath it. Okay, so please, 1B would add a lot of justice. And when we talk about our voting rights not being represented, like areas, similar similarities in representation in communities, 1B does it for the area of USC and the area adjacent to it, which is Adams Normandy. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next caller by the name Emma Hernandez. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hello, my name is Emma Hernandez. I'm Chief Executive Officer of the Southeast Community Development Corporation. And I want to make sure that it's known that SCDC does not support map number 2. However, we do support map number 1B. And we believe that the communities included in that map are more similar. Thus, the representation will be better for all the communities involved. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next caller by the name Os Ryan or OS Ryan. Can you please unmute yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I totally agree with the people that have spoken for District 5. We need to be cut off from the north. We, the community of Southeast Los Angeles, that includes Cudahy, Maywood, Huntington Park, Southgate, and Bell, need to stay together and move towards downtown in the map 1B that you have selected. District 5 needs to be broken because the communities of interest from north and south are totally different. We in Southeast Los Angeles have been forgotten by our representative. We have no help in the area. We are Latinos, we need Latino representatives, and District 5 has to be redesigned so we no longer belong to Northeast Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next caller by the name Maria O. Can you please unmute yourself?
Sí, buenas noches. Mi nombre es María Olivo. Soy una madre del Distrito 5.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maria O, and I am a mother, and I live in District 5. Proceda.
Esta noche estoy ante ustedes pidiendo de favor que en esta nueva etapa de 10 años haya más equidad e igualdad para nuestros estudiantes, y pido que sea el mapa 1B, el cual les conviene más a nuestros niños.
So I am here before you, and I thank you for this opportunity, and to ask you and to please consider map 1B, where there will be more fairness and equity, and also it's going to benefit our children. Proceda.
Porque en esta etapa necesitamos que sean tomados en cuenta las escuelas para que cuando haya reparaciones a las escuelas sea justo el trato y sea un mayor bienestar para nuestros estudiantes. Porque si trabajamos en equipo, toda la educación va a mejorar.
So at this stage, I would like for you to consider the schools. For example, when there's repairs to be done, well, these repairs will be taken care of, and it's going to be fair. Otherwise, the students will not be benefiting from this. However, if we unite, then there will be benefits, and then there's going to be improvements. Proceda.
Gracias. Sí, el mapa 1B es la mejor opción para nuestros hijos, la cual va a traer cosas positivas para nuestra comunidad en este periodo que va a empezar de 10 años.
So if you consider or pay attention to map 1B, this is the best option for our children, starting from 10 years and up. So this is something very positive. You have to keep this in mind. Proceda.
Sí, por favor, tomen en cuenta todas las opiniones de los padres en general, que acá estamos pidiéndoles a ustedes que tienen el poder de crear algunas comunidades más fuertes para nuestras futuras generaciones.
So I can't stress enough to consider this map 1B. Because if you listen to the parents that are speaking tonight, what they're trying to do is to think about the future generations, and this way a stronger generation.
Muchas gracias. Buenas noches.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you for your comment. Muchas gracias por su comentario. Next caller by the name Farnaz Simantab, can you please unmute yourself?
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, proceed.
Okay. I just wanted for districts 3 and 4, I'd like to advocate for either map 1A or 1B. It's important for the Taft Complex of Schools to maintain the current board member that we've been working with for the past several years, especially given the Taft remodernization projects. He knows and he's an advocate for our school. In addition, it's important for the Valley to maintain at least 3 board members. Otherwise, we're going to get lost, and the resources are not going to come to the Valley at all. And we went through this 10 years ago, so I just want to advocate to maintain what we have now in terms of for District 4 encompassing part of the Valley. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next caller by the name Cesar Saldivar Mats. Can you please unmute yourself?
Yes, my name is Cesar Saldivar Mats. I'm the Executive Director of New Start Housing. We have 15 properties in the Southeast area for low income and senior housing. And we would like to indicate that we do not support map number 2. We do support map 1B. We feel that 1B is more representative of our community throughout that district and with similar and common interest. We do want to keep Sela area communities together, so we support 1B. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. If there are any other speakers that would like to make public comment, please click on the raise hand function to speak. Oh, there we go. Caller by the name Aida Correa, can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, proceed.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I am also here representing District 5 currently. I am part of the northern side of District 5 that I know has been mentioned quite a bit tonight. One of the things that I find a problem with, excuse me, with the maps that have been provided is that although I do think that map 1B is much more fair for the lower part of the current District 5, it does not represent or is not, it's not going to represent well the northern part, because the way it is set up, you know, it groups us with areas that could be a lot more affluent. However, the northern part also has very many areas that are not, you know, doing as well as someone else earlier here was on from El Sereno, Lincoln Heights. And so what happens is you can see the difference in the diversity just because we are given like a specific tiny little neighborhood that may be doing much better than the rest of the District 5. And so I'm afraid that that's going to lead to some budget issues, you know, with the district not, with our area not getting sufficient funding to make sure that we level out the resources for the kids across the district. So I'm just very concerned about how all this works. And for me, I think draft 1A would be a lot more useful for us to go into than draft 1B, specifically for, you know, taking into consideration District 5 the way it is right now and where it could lead. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment.
Let's wait a couple seconds, see if more folks raise their hand.
Okay. Next caller by the name Darlene Swintak. Can you please unmute yourself? Darlene Swintak, can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, proceed.
Hi, I've been a resident of the Encino area for over 20 years, and my kids have been in the board District 4 for the last 10 years. And the reason we chose this district was because Portola, Lanai, Taft, or Lanai, Portola, Taft all sync together. And Taft is under major construction, and it wouldn't make sense to change the district map because it would be taking a step back, getting somebody new involved, and it just doesn't make sense to be doing that. So west of the 405 makes sense. To put anything east of the 405 just doesn't make sense to us.
Okay. Thank you very much for your comment.
Wait a little bit. How many speakers, Gladys, spoke already?
Let me count and I'll give you that number now.
I think we had 20, Mr. Chair.
20, okay.
19.
Okay, just wait a little bit. Doesn't seem like any attendees are raising their hand.
Mr. Chair, do we want to try giving the speaker, Ms. Ryan, a chance to speak once more?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I know. Does she have her hand up still? I know she was having trouble earlier, right?
Yeah,
Is she still on?
Let me look for her.
Mr. Chair, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
So I'm familiar with Miss Ryan. She spoke. OS Ryan is Sophie Ryan. Unless she gets 2 bites of the apple, but she changed phones. She had a problem with the other one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So she spoke. Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're
okay.
welcome.
Seems like I think we could close public comment now.
Okay, we can go ahead and close it.
Great. Okay. So thank you once again, commissioners, for listening and being here for public comment. Just like to hear from folks if they have any comments before we adjourn the meeting. So I have Commissioner Johnson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I thought that at our last meeting, we had schools located on the map, and we talked about adding, the high schools, the locations of schools, and we had a different looking map. And I thought that was the map that was going to be presented to the public. I was not on the call when you, on Saturday, when you did the tutorial on maps, but it seems like we talked about making sure that the public had as much information as possible. Yet, as we're doing these public information meetings with the maps, they don't have all the information that we have shown in previous meetings. So I'd just like to get a response from someone about that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner John. Andrew, can you respond to that?
Sure. So in general, once again, the maps on the website have all of the information and all the schools information. With respect to the public input hearing, in the video, we kind of go through the descriptions, but you can't zero in on particular districts and show the kind of detail that we want to show. And it's also extremely difficult to do that during a course of a hearing when we have 3 draft maps. And so we just really haven't figured out a way to do any more than what we've done at this point. But once again, the draft maps on the website provide all of that information, that detailed information that folks are looking for.
All right, thank you, Andrew. So I have Commissioner Hurtado, Tahan, and Rapeni, and then we'll go back to you, Commissioner Johnson, again.
Thank you. And I'll try to keep it under 2 minutes, by the way. So as you hear the comments, folks who have been very happy over the last 10 years are wanting to keep things the way they are. And folks who have not been happy at all are the ones who are looking for change. And again, I think, we hear them loud and clear. We're going to do our very best to provide the best recommendation. And I really want to emphasize this part. We're just an advisory board. We're taking every comment that folks are making here and at every meeting that we've had, and are gonna put it all together and try to come up with a recommendation for the city council to go by. But at the end of the day, they will make a decision whether they go with what we are recommending or they have their own idea. We'll find that out at that point. I guess the question I have is this: I know that in the information we got the email for tonight's meeting, there were a lot of messages that we got from people who sent emails with their comments. Do we have any records that we would be able to look at some point to see how many people are actually asking for a particular map, whether it's number 2, you know, like a score sheet almost, because and where they're coming from? In other words, so if a speaker says, I live in District 5 and I'm looking for map 1A or 1B or 2, I want to know if we have anything that we can look at after all the meetings. Thank you.
Now, that's a great question, Commissioner, and it's something that did come up at the meeting last week. And so certainly after the public input hearing that we have on Saturday, we'll aggregate all of that information for the commission, all that written information for the commission in the manner that you just described, so that you'll have that information available to you a couple of days before we start making some decisions next Wednesday.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Dahan?
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to clarify because I wasn't sure if one of the speakers understood that the redistricting commission doesn't impact the actual attendance boundaries for the schools. It's just for representation. So I just wanted to clarify for anyone who might have thought that our lines would impact feeder patterns for the schools. Those are outside of this process. This is only for determining who would represent the corresponding schools from a board district. So that was just, I wasn't sure from the comments if that's what they meant. So I just wanted to clarify it in case it was that and not our general understanding of redistricting. And then also just wanted to encourage folks to use our mapping tool, because that's a great way for us to really understand what people mean when they describe different communities in their comments. And so that was another thing I wanted to uplift. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dahan. Just before I go to Commissioner Rapenny, we do have 3 speakers. So I'm not sure if we open it now, we wait. I'm just trying to figure out.
Open it now.
Okay, great. Okay. So Gladys, can we go back to these 3 speakers?
Yes. Okay, caller by the name Jocelyn Perez. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, good evening. My name is Jocelyn Perez. I am a resident of East Los Angeles. I've been living here for over 25 years. And so today I'm speaking to the commissioners as a resident and also organizer here to listen to our voices of the Eastside residents that for a long time we have been fighting to ensure that we have quality and justice for all. We have been able to create many changes from the time that District 2 was finally formed into a district that represents our communities. We have been able to come together to push for equity. You know, we want A through G for all students, ensure that students like myself were ready for college with, supporting with increasing graduation rates. And I am requesting that the commission listens to us, right? And keeping the district as is for us to continue our momentum in, fighting for our education and for the future of our students as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next caller by the name Juan Carlos. Can you please unmute yourself?
Yes, hello. My name is Juan Carlos. I'm a resident of East LA. I grew up around the Boyle Heights area, and I really did just see that there's a lot of struggle here with their single parents. First and foremost, because we've been in together in District too. We've been able to fight for things like more funding in our schools, things like A through G. And really, it's really important that we stay together right now, because that fight is not one that's over. And so it's with that I'm asking that you keep District 2 together. Sorry, I'm sick too, so my voice is a little, yeah. But essentially, we're a community that right now we have a movement we're building, and we need that to stay in place so that we can keep working together. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next caller with the last 3 digits, 375. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, my name is Ciclali Perez, and I just recently graduated from Garfield High School this year, and I'm here asking you to keep District 2 as it is. I have little brothers who go to Robert Hill Lane Elementary, and I want them to have the same opportunities as I did, such as help with the A through G requirements so that they could go to college in the future without a challenge. My siblings and I have lived in East LA our whole lives, and we have seen how communities have come together to fight for what's right. And I was part of the campaign for Schools and Communities First at the age of 16 because I want to be part of the movement. And I'm still here years later, still fighting and being part of the movement to ask commissioners to keep District 2 as it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Caller by the name Antonieta Garcia, can you please unmute yourself?
Yes, hi. My name is Antonieta Garcia, and I am here because I want to make a public comment about our community that's been saturated with all these charter schools, and however that they're going to be making a charter school on 4th and Atlantic. And by the build of so many charter schools, our community has a lot of traffic. There's no parking in our communities. I can't literally park at my block at all whatsoever. I feel that the charter schools need to stop. We have enough as it is, and we have a lot of public schools that are great. We have a magnet school. We have Garfield High School that is one of the highest high school. We have a STEAM middle school, which is Griffith. We have an elementary school, which is a science and magnet school, which is Hamasaki Medical and Science Magnet. I think that if by stopping the building too many charters, I think it would make the community a little bit much better, because I feel that the community is separating too much because due to this situation, there's a lot of coalition, a lot of traffic, a lot of car accidents. There is no respect within the community. They're not letting the community know that they're building all these charter schools, and instead of building more houses and more apartments for low-income families, they're building more charter schools. I would like to know if this could be stopped or it could be investigated, because it's just getting way out of hand. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Caller by the name Chelsea McElwee, can you please unmute yourself? Caller by the name Chelsea McElwee, can you please unmute yourself? Hello.
Hello. Hi, my name is Chelsea McElwee. I was born and raised in South LA. I attended several schools throughout LSUSD system. Growing up, I noticed attending high school, I noticed how unprepared I was for college. However, I didn't really understand that until my adulthood. I love South LA, and regardless of its flaws, I really feel that the flaws that we do have are due to not holding the city and county accountable to equitable practices. I'm still learning about the redistricting process. The last one, I was in middle school, so I didn't really understand it. But I'm here today to ask the commissioners to leave District 1 and 7 the same. Historically, each communities have been fighting their battles to receive the resources that they deserve. And by changing the lines, it disrupts those efforts and the momentum to keep going for it. Instead of redrawing lines, we need to focus on our current communities that are underserved and have been underserved for decades. However, if that is not possible, I ask that you consider some of the youth who are not able to cross certain boundaries within these lines. And by combining some of these communities together is detrimental to our young people. I ask that you work closely with game interventionists and preventionists to also advise on the lines that you all are establishing. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Thank you very much for your comment.
There we go. Okay, I think we could close public comment and head back to commissioners. I believe it's Commissioner Rapeni.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I know this is the first of three hearings we're going to have on these draft maps. And so it's still early in the process of listening to folks who are joining our meetings. That said, I've sort of seen this dynamic emerging for a while. And I feel like our work isn't quite done yet. And I just want to put on the table that obviously we've heard all along through this process, folks from the Southeast and the southern part of Board District 5 expressing that they want a better, more fair district to be a part of. And having somewhat hands-on knowledge of that district, I live in the north part of it, but I've obviously spent a certain amount of time in the Southeast cities as well. I agree with that. I agree that a change is very much needed. And I've been listening to Commissioner Hurtado and Commissioner Franco, Commissioner Hernandez, and those who live in these communities on our commission as well. That said, I know we're also hearing from folks on the east side who want to preserve District 2 as it is, and who feel threatened by the change proposals that are on the table right now. And I just want to say that this a dynamic where we have two communities of need that are feeling like their interests are not aligned in relation to our work here. I think that dynamic is really an uncomfortable one. These are two communities that, in my mind, really deserve the best of us. They deserve the best of LAUSD. There are communities that have not had the best schools. And so to have them kind of in this way arguing for different things is something that I would like to see if there's a way out of this dynamic. And, I know we may not be able to do that right now with, these maps, these drafts that are out there, but it's something that I would like to see us do more work on because, again, I support, the progress that the East Side communities have made in Board District 2 over these past years, and the important policy work that has come out of that. But I also truly support the Southeast and their organizing work right now around something better for their communities as well. And so is there a way to do both that isn't currently in front of us? And that's my question for us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Johnson and Commissioner Hernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Because I want to go back to the issue of the maps that we're presenting in our public hearings. One of the parents, I think, made it really clear that there are a lot of parents out there that work 2 or 3 jobs and aren't able to make these meetings, and perhaps aren't even able to go on our website or whatever. But for us to, in one meeting, to show one map with information that's available to all of us, and then for when we go to the public, we don't give the public that same information. If we can figure out a way to put the schools and some information about the feeder schools, at least let people make people aware that that information is available. And I didn't hear that in the new presentation that was just given as we revised the video. So we showed the maps, and quite frankly, someone telling you that these changes are made, it's really not easy to follow. And I'm gonna be honest with you. And I've looked at these maps and I've probably, we've all looked at them much more than the public has. So that's not an easy way for people to understand it. And I'm not saying that they'll understand it any differently or we have another way of communicating. But I'm a firm believer that we have to make sure that the public has all the information available to them to be able to make these decisions when we go out to the public and talk to them. And so I would hope that we would find some way to either show those maps with all the information that we have in our new presentation, or at least refer to them and let the public know where that information, that additional information is available. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. I do just in relation to Commissioner Johnson, I know that we've been out doing public events because I've been following the Instagram and other stuff. And I've seen the maps actually at an event the other day. So in those big maps, they do have that detail, right? I believe, or no?
No, they don't have the the school attendance zones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more of a generic sort of broader map to kind of show the distinctions between the three maps that are being out to the public.
Okay, thank you. But the details available online. That is right. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. So I'll go Commissioner Hernandez and then Commissioner Lopez-Ledesma.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So actually, I want to highlight both Commissioner Johnson and Commissioner Repning's remarks. And with regard to Commissioner Johnson and the mapping question, I would agree that I want to make sure that the public does feel comfortable with looking, dissecting, and understanding the maps. And so I know there was a tutorial this past weekend, and I was able to attend. Thank you so much for hosting that. I'm wondering if there's another tutorial that's coming up that we can host for the public so that they can become more familiar. I was on that call and even sitting on the commission, trying to understand that that whole dynamic can be tricky and Pretty. She's awesome and great on that tool. So if there is another tutorial that's coming up, if we can share that with the public today so they can attend. If we don't have one yet, can we discuss the potential of having one in the near future? I know that these, next two meetings are going to be really critical. So maybe there's an opportunity there. That's the first point. And the second point, I really want to underscore and highlight what Commissioner Repning mentioned, because I think there obviously is this dynamic that's going on between District 2 and District 5 that we need to address, and that's before us. And the question of equity and resources, and you're absolutely right, Commissioner Repning, these are two districts that have had their challenges with resources, with ensuring that their schools are up to standards on a number of levels. And so, I would agree if we can circle back and look at, these two maps before us and determine whether there's another way. And that's why I also want to highlight the mapping tool, because we are receiving public comment today, but I would also like to see what this looks like for folks on a map, what they can provide and show us in that way, so that they understand the factors that we also have to consider when looking at the redistricting process. But at the end of the day, I too want to ensure and feel comfortable with my decision that however which way we decide to draw the lines, we know that we're not going to make everyone happy. But I want to make sure that we can, as a number of folks said today, that we can be as fair as possible, because when we can do that for both districts or one district, it really helps to, bring that equity across all of our LAUSD districts.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Lopez-Ledesma.
Thank you, Chair Sanchez, and thank you, Commissioner Hernandez. I definitely echo and support the call and the need for another workshop. I think that's important. I also just want to thank the members of the public for coming out tonight. There's lightning out there. There's all kinds of things happening. there's a lot going on. So just making this a priority is it's really great that y'all are doing that. And hopefully y'all can continue to stay in the conversation and making comments and encouraging other folks to also make comments. I really appreciated the comment from the member of the public that spoke to the need to look to gang interventionists and look at the lines that aren't necessarily on maps that we don't see, but that our students at LAUSD are experiencing day after day, and they're very real, very important to talk about and to consider as we're making decisions. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So now I have Commissioner Hurtado and then Commissioner.
Okay, somebody had their hand up before me, but you're the chair, so I'll go with you. Look, I just wanted to make this point for the members of the public. You know, spending time with this group has convinced me that everyone here has very good intentions, and no one here wants to come up with something that is going to hurt anybody. If there was a way that we can put something that meets the criteria of the law, everything that all the things that we have to make sure that we don't violate and make everybody happy, I can assure everybody that we would do that. And just for the folks who, you know, spoke of, I graduated from Garfield. I have family who still goes to the schools out there. And I would never, ever make a recommendation or support something or want to go in a direction that benefits my community while at the same time hurt yours. That's never a thought. And I feel that everybody on this committee feels the same way. No one wants to do anything that is going to result in taking anything away from anybody. That's not going to happen. So again, I just wanted to clear that up. I think that my push for either 1A and really leaning more toward 1B, and I've said this from the get-go, is because as much as you know, I got on this committee to make a change, you know, and to provide a map that basically keeps everything the same way. That means the outcome, what we've had for the last 10 years, is going to be the same. You know, it's not a good one. So again, I just wanted to point that out, and hopefully the people that are listening to us understand that our intentions are good, and I hope that everybody listening does support this group. Once again, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Dahan and then Commissioner Franco.
Thanks. I definitely appreciate all of us on the commission recognizing that this challenge between 2 and 5 is really continuing to be consistent. And it seems to be the one area of consistency where we're getting it almost feels a little bit like a ping pong. I'm not keeping track of comments because I know that we get a lot of written comments as well. So I'm hoping staff is keeping all of that together. And I know that a lot of us have also participated in individual outreach events and have received feedback through those channels as well. And it's just very hard to say, you know, also this is not something where it's like you can keep track of feedback to make a decision. There's a lot that we're balancing. And so I just wanted to acknowledge and appreciate that we all are in alignment about what we're focusing on. And I appreciated Commissioner Rapenning's comments about potentially introducing another option or map. My only concern is that we have gone through a process where we somewhat got alignment in the other pieces of our puzzle. And I believe that there is ways to fix the 2 and 5, but that's going to start to impact 1 and 7 and 4, and who knows what the domino would be for the Valley as well. And so I just wanted to uplift that we're feeling the tension points in 2 and 5, and I'm hopeful we figure out a way to resolve that. But I also don't know if another map or other options fully are it, unless we're prepared to revisit where we are in other districts. And maybe we are. I'm not saying we're not. I just wanted to uplift that that might be what the solution is. And in some ways, we've built this public comment process has really been around folks who've been weighing in on 2 and 5. So if we were going to go down a path where we wanted to change the scenarios, which would have impacts on other districts, I would just encourage us to do that sooner than later, because I don't think it would be fair to those communities if they're currently feeling fine with where they're at, and then a couple days before we make a decision, we put something on the table that they didn't really have a meaningful opportunity to engage in. So it's not opposing that. I just wanted to uplift something that I think could also happen in our efforts to address one thing. This is very much a whack-a-mole situation, and unfortunately, they're not moles, they are students and families. And so there's a sensitivity that I wanted to make sure we uplifted.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Franco?
Thank you, Chair. I definitely, just want to really support, the sentiment that I think we're all feeling, right? It definitely does feel, and thank you, Commissioner Repenning, for opening up that floor, right, of that tension that we're seeing between 2 and 5, right? The East LA, Southeast LA regions, right? And I think it's challenging. And, one, we appreciate the public, right? The youth as well, and family members that, have come out and provided that feedback. I think this is a very challenging process. I think since the beginning, right, when it comes to Southeast LA, we have consistently heard, this is an area that has been, this is franchised for 10 years, if not more, right? And then, so I think there's a lot of tensions that we're seeing there. And this is why it's very important to have community involved. I do agree. I think if we are going to start looking at an alternative, that we may want to do that as soon as possible to give community the opportunity to really weigh in on any other options we're providing. I do know that, we're also receiving a lot of public comment, right? So looking at those pieces and what other maps we do receive. I know, Andrew, you had shared there was one map draft that was submitted. So looking at those, as part of this process, right? So I think it's just, I wholeheartedly believe all of us are trying to really not impact or negatively impact any communities, right? This is a very important process. You understand it impacts lives and families for the next 10 years. It's not something that, will be changed that easily. So I do just want to thank you all for all the work that we're doing behind us in the community. And just remind us, we do have 2 more other public hearings. So those community members that are still here, if you can also support us in sharing with any of your colleagues and friends, right? We have one on Wednesday and then another one on Saturday. And yeah, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Chair Breeze?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to follow up on the comments made by Commissioner Franco and Dahan, particularly around the feedback. And I do agree, we have received a good amount of comment and feedback. That being said, I don't think that we have received enough. And I know that the additional 2 hearings that we will have will hopefully provide us with that opportunity. And knowing that we are kind of in the final stretch, we have, I think, less than 25 days or so, or maybe it's 25 days from now in order to submit these maps to City Council. And knowing that the other City Council Commission is also soliciting feedback, I think we need to double down on some of our efforts and make sure that we're really communicating with the public and we're finding ways to connect with them, and or whether it be new ways and or kind of existing ways. I do think we do need to find ways to continue to hear feedback from a broad constituency. I to date haven't heard very much from Mid-City or West Side or even Valley on this call. I know we've all individually been reaching out to folks, and I know the maps do have a lot of conversation around District 2 and District 5. But I do think it's important, exactly to what the commissioners are saying, if we are going to be making adjustments that would impact and affect some of the other districts, we really need to hear from those other areas. So that being said, I would love to hear, and perhaps this is a conversation with staff, Mr. Chair, and or maybe some of the contractors that we're working with. But I really would love to hear how this commission's outreach efforts is going to connect with the different constituencies that we do have across the LAUSD district, and also if there's anything that we as chairs specifically can do. I know we've had a lot of conversations about us as commissioners stepping up and doing things, and I think individually Genesis has been wonderful about reaching out to us and asking us individually, but I really do think we need to like pound the pavement. We need to become the organizers here, and we need to really get out on the ground and get that feedback from our constituencies. So this is a call for the outreach consultants, a call for Genesis, Andrew, to really utilize us, have us employed to get the feedback that we are soliciting. Maybe that includes a list of maybe talking points that you want us to deliver, maybe some of the maps that you want us to send, whatever it is. I really do think, we're here to do that, and we only have 25 days to make this magic happen. So let's do that. And included in that, I would love to see a perhaps listing or a master plan from our contractors for the rest of this month. What are we doing? And then maybe sharing that with this commission, so then we can maybe fill in any gaps or so. And I'm happy to talk Genesis offline about this. And Mr. Chair, if you agree with this, then perhaps we can also connect with staff. But I really want us to be as engaged as possible, because we haven't heard yet fully from, we have over 600,000 students in LAUSD, and we've only heard from a very, very small group. So I want us to make sure that we deliver for them. Thanks.
Thank you, Vice Chair. So I'm going to go to Commissioner Way and then Commissioner Franco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So first, I fully support what my colleagues are saying here. This is a great discussion I think we're having tonight, and recognizing that this conflict we're seeing between 2 and 5 really, this is a Gordian knot that I don't know how we're going to untie this. And to be blunt, I don't know what somebody's going to tell us in additional public testimony that's going to help sort this out. I feel like we need to give the public something. We're waiting for the public to tell us. I feel like we need to give them something that would be a solution or an explanation or something of how this would actually work in their communities, how this is going to impact your specific area. And I don't know how we can do that in the next days, that we have to do this. So unfortunately, I'm not coming up with an answer here. I'm just, trying to further, dig into the question, because I just feel like we're kind of stuck at this point by the clock, really. So yeah, I'm just going to throw that out there and hope somebody else is smarter than I am.
Commissioner Franco, and I have some.
Yeah, I did want to just add to Commissioner Ambers's remarks, right, in terms of outreach. We did, and I do want to thank Genesis and Commissioner Hernandez and our consultants. We did have a conversation this Saturday around what is our strategy moving forward, right? We wanted to hear from, as we had shared at the previous commission, an update as to how, what's the strategy, how are we shifting, given just the short time frame that we still have, right, for this feedback. I think it'll be important for us to just, one thing that I think we learned through those conversations was, as our consultants and our staff are reaching out, they have also heard feedback around in those districts where they, community are not feeling that there's much change, that they're not necessarily engaging because they don't see there being a lot of change, and just giving that the city, redistricting commission is also going on in the county, the state, right? So I think is part of that is also important for us to highlight, right? And we've raised this to Genesis, right, and the team around being able to really hear what the feedback we're getting as we're continuing to outreach. One of the things that I was just thought of was Genesis, and we can talk about this offline, but I wanted to elevate this, was around, if there's a way that we can, I know we're doing public comment, right, with the street teams, if there's a way we can incorporate that to an online version, just giving that, while the public comment is great, I think there's also, as some of the community members elevated, there's going to be folks that are not able to engage because their time, the meetings are not aligning with their schedule, or folks have other commitments, right? So finding other ways of how do we continue to engage community to hear more feedback on this. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Hernandez, and then Commissioner Sanchez, and then I'll do some closing comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, thank you so much for inviting me for the meeting on Saturday with the Outreach Committee. So to your point, I know there are a number of challenges and we've heard them, and we want to be mindful to ensure that stakeholders do have the opportunity to join us and provide their public comment. But one thing I also feel is that if we are finding through our outreach committee efforts that there are challenges, then we also have to find ways, alternative ways to get to our audiences to ensure that they are getting the information that they need to participate. I understand that there are a number of things going on. We did talk about, yes, we have the recall, we have other redistricting efforts happening, but it's also our responsibility, either speak now or you wait 10 years. And, we need to make sure that the urgency is behind our efforts right now because it's crunch time. And, this last week for public comment, it's going to be critical. And yes, the public comment will inform our decision. We have our work laid out for us. So I do want to make sure that folks are participating, because the last thing we want is for them to say, I didn't know, I didn't participate. Why am I just learning about this now? So I actually, would like to revisit Vice Chair Ambris's comments about, making sure that we're working more closely with our outreach consultants with Genesis to ensure that we do have, I love the idea of a master plan, and we just start to execute. One thing that we did talk about, and I'd like to share with the commissioners here, the consultants did talk about a number of entities that they have met and connected with. They are soliciting our help as commissioners to just revisit that, to reach out to those different organizations. They will send us a list of who those entities are, and to make sure that we also reach out to them to underscore and highlight the importance of this process. One thing that I did ask from the consultants is for them to, share and just work with us to make that possible. And so that we also, can help to support, in addition to what we're already doing on our own within our districts and within our networks. So thank you for that, for the time.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Sanchez? Wait, sorry. Genesis, do you want to respond to that before both commissioners?
Sure, there's a couple of things that have been mentioned, so I just wanted to make sure that I responded. First off, okay. I know there was mention with regards to the mapping workshop that happened this weekend. The mapping workshop that happened this weekend was mostly to guide individuals and groups that wanted to draw a map on how to use that mapping tool. So it was very technical in that sense. That recording is now on YouTube. So we'll be sending that out to our distribution list for folks that weren't able to make the mapping workshop. But I did hear maybe this concern around sort of maybe a guidance on how to read the maps more for sort of community input. So I'll see how we can, if there's something that we can do to guide the community in sort of understanding the high school attendance zones and how the commission use that to guide their districts and how they map that. If I understand that correctly, I think that's a different workshop than the one that we held on Saturday. This would be more for the community to better understand the maps. And so in regards to the comments that were made around the master plan, around outreach, I'll make sure to connect with the outreach consultant on that to provide an update as well as sort of next steps from now. I feel that there is a continued opportunity for engagement even beyond these public hearings to continue to inform the community about sort of next steps and how they can also engage at the city council level. I think, part of the mission of the commission is to be very transparent. So we've been very open and transparent with the community, with regards to this being an advisory commission. And so ultimately the city council will have that final say. And so I do think that it's still our responsibility to also continue to inform the community about those opportunities for engagement at that level as well. So I want to make sure that the outreach consultants also take that into consideration and want to talk about the plan there as well to inform the community on those steps. And then We are working on a couple of talking points for commissioners for videos. So hopefully some of you are able to record quick, 30-second videos that we hope to use this week and the next, days coming up to also try to push more informational videos out through our social media channels.
Thank you, Genesis. Sorry, Commissioner Sanchez now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Echoing a lot of the positive comments that have been made. Thank you, everyone, for your time and for your diligence. I'm thinking about our outreach, right? And I can only imagine how difficult it is to do outreach during this time and during this pandemic. So it's difficult. I would like to mention, I don't know that more public hearings will necessarily help. I'm not sure about that. I'll just say that up front. I do believe that we've had, considering the circumstances, a lot of public engagement, but more is always better. Absolutely agree. Thanking Heather for just talking about the conflict, right? If there is that conflict, let's just talk about it and try to resolve it, go after it. So what I would like to suggest is, I wouldn't suggest that we have more ad hoc committee meetings because of the Brown Act, right? We can't have these conversations as a whole, but if there is time that we should dedicate during our regular sessions, during our regular meetings for drawing the lines, for discussing the lines, I think we should do that. I think we should focus on that. Really our job, right, is to draw these lines with public input, with the information that we have. So maybe we should dedicate some time during the other meetings. After these sessions, I also think, to be fair to the process, we do have these 3, now 2 after this session, hoping that we do get more public input, focusing on that. But let's find time, I would say, for us to talk about the boundaries, to talk about the needs of the students and their families, and how we incorporate that into the draft map that we'll be presenting to the City Council. Again, thank you for everyone. This is, I love these conversations, but we do have a deadline. We do have limited capacity. This is a pandemic. So let's get public input, but let's draw those lines and move forward as best as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanchez. I mean, I just want to just do some final words. I agree with what everybody said in terms of, we are hitting the last couple of weeks where we have to make major decisions, and we have this Herculean task of dealing with this major conflict, right? Which is 2 disproportionately impacted districts that have not received the resources or representation they've had. Even though District 2 has said, want to keep my district as whole, they would say it's only been whole for a decade, right? And for 80 to 100 years, they didn't receive that representation, right? And District 5 is the same thing. For 30 to 40 years, they've been dealing with the district that keeps shifting and changing on them, and they haven't been able to elect a candidate of interest. As someone that went to school in both District 2 and 5 for essentially 43 out of my 47 years of my livelihood. 10 years ago, I lived in District 5 for the last decade. The last 10 years, I lived in District 2, right? I know full well I'm actually on the border region of that sliver that people call on that map that people talk about, and so I've been eating, sleeping and thinking about this map and the difficult decision that these 2 communities have been put in, right? But I hope that over the next couple of weeks, I've been in conversation and, not doing just hearing public comment here, but going out there and talking to folks, right? And hearing from them, about what they're willing to do, what they're asking for. I do feel, even though people are coming to us very clear, stark realities, I do feel there's a conversation, right? And so I think it's important for us to continue to heed and listen to public comment. At some point, we're going to have to decide, but really center these 2 communities at the end of the day, have speaking to us because they feel the most impact either for the last 10 years or potentially what will be happening in the next 10 years. And those are difficult decisions we're going to have to make as a commission. But I know full well, as someone who's lived and gone to school in these 2 regions for most of my life, that hopefully as a commission, we make the right decision that doesn't wrong anyone. And that's our task, and that's what we're going to send. as a recommendation to the council. And I hope if we do the right work, the council will follow our recommendation, right? And that's our job, to do the right work, to do everything. One thing I do agree, this is one of the things, I do want to keep it simple on some level to some of this stuff. I do feel the maps were too complicated when I saw all that stuff on the map, right? You know, I think, you know, we have to think about concepts as much as all the detail, you know, that we're looking at. And so we have to think about what's the right dosage for everyone, so they really understand what's at stake. And so that's something we should, you know, we should be discussing over the next couple of weeks as we talk to folks. I know full well, I've been talking to both parent groups as well as like key stakeholders, right? You know, boards of major organizations, right? And even they tell me like, it's too complicated when you put all the lines, right? So I just want to heed like, what's the dosage, what we do, but at the end of the day, as we head over these next couple weeks, I think we need to get to more clarity, you know, a clear process, because at the end of the day, we do have a deadline. And that deadline needs essentially by the 20th, because the 27th is when we have to vote on the report based on the map that we already approved, right? So we really have the latest, the 20th. So that's something we need to heed. The next week, we're going to get more public comment. It might be very similar than what we've heard the last couple of days, but it's important because that puts pressure and urgency on how important this decision is, right? And I feel both, you know, a lot of responsibility about this, but I also feel a lot of privilege in being in this position. You know, 30 years ago, I was one of those young people that came to a commission yelling at people and telling them what they should be doing, right? And you know, it's come full circle for me to being part of this process. So I just think it's gonna be hard, but I do like being with this group. I think you've put the energy and the real important thinking into this about what's the best map. I could really say that, and I feel we'll get to a right place in the next 3 weeks. So I want to thank the commission. I know we have 2 more comments. I'm not sure, Commissioner Sanchez, did you have a last point, or you forgot to put down your hand? Okay, there we go. We do have 2 more comments. Can we listen to the last 2 comments and then we could adjourn?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so we have 2 attendees, Gladys. Yeah, for those 2 folks, and then we'll close after that.
Okay, caller by the name Margaret, can you please unmute yourself?
Hello, good evening. Thank you. And I just want to say I appreciate the conversation. I'm going to try to keep this really brief. I am in favor of a suggested tutorial for the mapping. And also I looked over the renter occupied housing charts, and being considerate to the other areas, I would like to say that map 1A and 1B really addressed my concerns. What I had in District 2, reaching all the way into the downtown area. And I'm the only thing I'm having some confusion on is the diversity part. How do you want to keep things the same and wanting to create diversity? That's just confusing to me. That was just a comment. But my map that I would choose would be 1A, because like I said, taking into consideration the housing maps and the renters maps. And I've seen how, because I live in I also had to send my kids to board District 2 and 5 also. So going up northeast makes a lot more sense, and not dividing District 5. And then having District 2 contain, because I lived at Silver Lake at some point, that I know Virgil Middle School, I think map 1A addresses Virgil Middle School attending Marshall High School. So I know that area kind of stays intact right there. So that would be my rest of the comments. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next caller by the name Stephanie Maineto Jackson. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, good evening. My name is Stephanie Maineto Jackson. I'm currently living in Board District 5. I was born and raised in the neighborhood, went to all the local schools. Now my children are attending there. I basically wanted to just thank you all for what you're doing, but I also wanted to confirm that the email and the public comments link on the website will still be available to everyone, correct? And also One way I get a lot of my information, because I know we're overwhelmed as parents with the amount of stuff we get, is through the LAUSD when they send us out those emails. And I know I haven't received any emails through them. I found this actually through parents supporting teachers. I found out about tonight's meeting. So maybe that would be a great outreach effort. I don't have a comments on the maps yet, because like you guys all said, it is a bit confusing. I'm still looking at them, and hopefully I'll have a comment before the end of the week. But thank you again, and thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you very much for your comment. Next caller by the name Monique Bacon. Can you please unmute yourself?
Unmute. Hi, good evening. You may have done this already. Please forgive me if you have. I'm not sure. But I think what would help is if there's a list for each of the districts drawn, the name of all of the schools that will be in those districts, if that's possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment.
Okay. So we have a comment from Commissioner Hernandez, and then I'd like to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, I was going to just say something similar to our to Ms. Bacon, where I'm wondering if on the tool there's an option where if you click on a district, it'll not only populate or show you the names of the schools, but maybe even like some of the cities and the communities, so folks know, you know, when we talk about communities of interest, what communities are in that district. And that's all I had to share. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner DeHaan?
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify for folks that it's actually possible for a school to be in multiple districts based on your address, not on the school attendance zone. So the school attendance zones don't always correspond to your board representative. So we could do the list, but people will note that some schools, particularly high schools, because they're much bigger, will fall within different board districts based on the address, even though the school itself might fall in a specific board district. So it's just the nuance. That's why I think the more we put on the maps, it could get a little bit more complicated because it doesn't always correspond to what you see on the map. So I just wanted to uplift that nuance for folks, because I completely understand wanting to know, is my school part of this board district? But you may not live in that board district.
Commissioner White?
Yeah, just to add on to that, someone asked me about this, and I should have mentioned earlier that this doesn't change magnet schools at all. And some parents are fearful that, gee, if the boundaries would change, does that change which magnets my kids can go to? Magnets are district wide, and there's no change in that. So just to alleviate one concern at least. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner White.
And real quick, Commissioner Sanchez, just don't send comments through Facebook or WhatsApp or Instagram, because they're so unreliable, as was proven today, right? All those went down.
Thank you, Commissioner Tello. So I think we're ready to adjourn. Can I have a
motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Good night,
Thank you,
everyone.
commissioners, and
good night.
See you on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Everyone, have a good night. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.